I want to do work today that pays me in the future. Kind of with wholesaling, we talked about you have to work to get paid, right? I want to do that work today and then get paid off for the next 10, 15, 20, maybe the rest of my life. And time again, commercial just checks all the boxes.
Welcome to the CRE Playbook Podcast, the show that takes you 0 to 1 in getting your first commercial building. This week, I've got one of my students, John Kleisch, who's an awesome person and who's gotten really, really good at this already. And what I want to do with the show that's a little unique, a ton of shows like to do I was a janitor, now I own 500 doors. And that's not what the show's going to be about. John is not a janitor. He does clean pools, but not a janitor. And so we want to show real people getting real deals early as possible in their process so they can talk through experiencing the struggles that maybe some of you guys are experiencing as you're trying to do commercial real estate. So that's the goal. I think for this, we're going to do a bunch of episodes with John. So I think this one, we're just going to start with getting to know him and why he got into commercial real estate.
Cool. So kind of a super long-winded answer. I'll just make it really short and simple. I was a guy that always wanted to get in real estate from being a young kid. I remember being like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, talking to my friends about flipping houses, and they were talking about video games and potato chips and stuff like that. So it's like very weird, bizarre. I get it. Never took action on it. I was always like afraid of just real estate was this big cool guys club and you needed to get in it. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to get rich first and do businesses and then I can buy real estate. Operated under that premise for, I don't know, 35 years, 34 years. And then one day I was at a job, hated it. And I was like, I'm tired of it. I was making good money. And I was like, hey, I'm tired of it. I just want to do real estate. I don't care. I'll do whatever. Applied to every single job posting possibly could. And then landed in a local wholesaler, to do, residential wholesale deals. Did that, thought it was the coolest thing ever. Got tired of that, did my own thing, partnered up, did residential wholesale deals, knowing that it wasn't the end. And then running into guys like you talking about all these big commercial deals was really eye-opening because if anyone does wholesale deals, especially with a team or not even with a team, it's just a grind. You're grinding your face off and it's good money. But at the end of the day, if you break it down, talking to you and you're showing me these refi checks and these sale checks, and I'm like, what am I doing, man? Like it's the same process. It's the same type of effort that goes into it. It's just a lot larger of money. So again, I'm running these businesses, looking at you going, oh, one day, one day, one day. And then again, same kind of thing with me getting into real estate. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm ready to go. I'm just going to call John, get signed up and learn how to do the dang thing.
What was your W-2 job that you quit?
I was a service advisor at a Chevrolet dealership for 2.5 years, 6 days a week, 5, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And you think freaking wholesaling is a grind, bro? Go write service at a dealership, at a high performing dealership. And I'm talking, dude, that's where I learned to work. That's where I learned how to work, and then what real work actually was, and then that's where I learned how to sell. Because you're writing 12 to 15 cars a day, you're running around like an animal. Everyone else that works there, the only reason they're working there is because they've gone to prison, they've got 10 DUIs, they can't work nowhere else, right? So it's a very unique group of people, especially working with mechanics and technicians, and then the general public. It was a riot for sure.
And from there, you got into wholesale straight off of just job applications like Indeed or something like that, or what?
Yep, dude, I was tired of, like I said, I looked at, I apply. If you had a job posting in real estate, regardless, I apply. I was applying like 40, 50 a day. And there was just a local guy had this big long thing to do, and I was like interested in it. He was like a famous guy too. I didn't even know Sean Terry. I didn't know who he was because I wasn't in the game. But I had this big long application process. Had to do a video. All these crazy, like it was pages and pages of stuff. I almost was like, dude, forget this. I'll just go write service for the rest of my life. I don't care. But then I got through it all and did the interview. They loved me, and I got hired. And then I quit the same day I got that job. Literally, they called me, and I
That's awesome.
freaking called my boss like, "Yo, we gotta talk."
And you got it? Were you an acquisitions manager, or what they call it in there?
Yep, yeah, acquisitions. and I was trained by a fantastic guy. He showed me everything about real estate, and I had a lot of sales experience from cars, so it was just a little bit of tweaking here and there. But kudos to my trainer, Rich Wonder. Shout out Novation King. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but he
Yeah,
was fantastic. Yeah, he
that's
was
cool.
awesome. So I attribute a lot of my success to him because he spent a lot of time with me.
I didn't realize he was your sales director at that time, or
Yeah, manager. He was
kind
like the
of.
head of acquisitions. There was only like five, six of us on the team, so like it was kind of a weird setup overall. But yeah, he was like my boss.
How long did you do acquisitions for Sean?
About a year, and about halfway through, I knew it wasn't just going to last, just the way everything was set up. I did not want to do my own business at that point. I've done businesses my whole life. I was in the car dealership. It was nice just having a job that I could actually get paid on. I did not want to do any kind of business. I was so burnt out. I actually got sued for my last business in a lawsuit, 2 years.
Mm.
Awful experience. I was like, dude, it's such a bad taste in my mouth. But I was kind of pigeonholed to do it, and I'm glad I did. But then, started that real estate business about a year, maybe a little bit shorter, 11 months, something like that.
And you guys, if I remember right, you started going direct to agent right out the gate, or what were you doing?
Yep, direct to agent. Literally
Gotcha.
just bought a list off of Dr. Bill's of all of the agents in Arizona. It was like 45,000 agents, and it was like $700. And Danny just inputted them all into a system, and it was just like text, 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 call, call, call. And we just called and texted every single agent. I mean, 45,000 people. It's not that many, because once you whittle it down, everything like that, fake numbers and whatnot. But we were hitting these agents up every single month. If you were an agent in Arizona, you heard from me 100%.
So started your own thing, started direct to agent, and you guys had a lot of success out the gate, right?
Dude, yeah, it was unfathomable. A lot of it due to the market, right? Like we got in, that was like COVID. We were selling houses over text message in minutes. Like if we couldn't sell a house the first day we got it under contract, we were like nervous. We're like, what's going on? It's been 2 days and we haven't got it sold yet, right? So it was crazy. We were able to grow our team so quickly. We had $0 in marketing. We were paying commission only to all of our sales guys. We would hire a VA to do the texting for each sales guy, which was pennies, $800, $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So we could literally, and money was coming in so fast. We could hire like three guys. Like we were hiring three guys at a time. And then, okay, it would cost us $3,000 for the month. By the end of their 30 days, dude, I mean, I remember we hired three people, and I think within 30 days or 45 days, we had like five deals sold. And it was like 150 G's,
Mm.
120 G's, something like that. Something crazy to where like we didn't even pay them yet. Like we didn't even pay our VAs, and we're basically like getting money in our account. So it was just like this perfect scenario of strategy, just going out there and doing it. And the market was, huge behind it. And we were just able to, I mean, dude, our fourth month in business, we did 350 grand, 360 grand at like a
That's
72%
awesome.
profit margin. So it was like unfair. Like, it didn't feel real. It felt like we were literally like, I was always like looking around going, all right, when's the shoe going to drop? And sure enough, it did when the rates went up, dude. I mean, the shoe dropped hard, real hard, and we felt it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the party
Is that when you
stopped.
guys pivoted to land?
No,
Yeah.
we operated for like another year after that. And then, because we had a full team, we were still gung ho on it, and like we knew about land, but we knew that was going to be a path for us. But we were just still set. The whole system was geared for this, and we operated. We actually did okay too. We were still actually have a couple months that we did like six figures after everything kind of fell apart,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was just kind of slowly getting worse. And then we had like a couple bad months, and we didn't know anything because we were just used to making 50 grand, 60 grand profit a month that we didn't like
Mm-hmm.
keep track of everything. So then a couple bad months, it just completely wiped us out. And it was like, oh, dude, like if
Yep.
we want to keep this business going, we need to cut a check for 45 grand. Like, do you want to spend 45 grand? Do you want to spend? No. All right. So then we retooled, and that's when we started land. And then we were doing like foreclosures simultaneously as well, just because going straight into land was a little bit nerve wracking. This was a good little interim
Yep.
of still doing houses while we learned land, which was great because we started land and we didn't get our first paycheck for 6 months. And that paycheck was only five
Yeah.
thousand
Yeah.
dollars. So you know. Uh,
That's the way it goes, switching. Yeah.
Yep. And then it was hard to shut down foreclosures when we knew we didn't want to do houses. We made like 130 grand in a couple months off of foreclosures. And here we are, we shut that business down due to some whale club principles like, hey, is this what we want? Does it get us closer? Not really. Hey, shut it down, focus on land. And then from there on, we went full blown into the land space.
So tell me what it was specifically about houses you guys didn't like anymore that made you want to shift away.
So we knew at that point that we were not like fantastic operators, building a team, culture, systems, processes. Just saying those words makes me nauseous now thinking about it. So we're like, what's like, houses is like complicated. We were really good at getting VAs. I don't know what it was, but like getting them, training them, like that aspect of it. I think it's because it's a lot more simple like task. If this, do that, right? And in houses, it's a lot more difficult, right? The roof, the AC, the windows. Oh, it's a wood frame house in Florida versus a concrete block house built, and there's so many
Mm-hmm.
different things and that can go wrong with it, and that made that really hard for us to get really streamlined and simple with VAs only. So when we got into land, we're like, hey, this is a lot more straightforward. There's a lot of more back end, a lot more simple tasks that can get done that you didn't have to train someone for 6 months to understand and wrap their head around. And still, even then, I had a hard time training people on houses. Like our acquisitions guys, like really struggled with learning how to comp, and a lot of it was us. But it's just there's a lot going on with
Yeah.
houses, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
you need a lot of experience, a lot different mindset, and just too convoluted. So land was a lot more simple to train someone to operate on.
So you guys did land. You did land for a couple years at that point, and
Yeah, about 2+ ish. I feel like we
mm-hmm.
did, two and a half, something like that, on just exclusively land deals. Like we even touched a house deal. I forget. It was July, maybe 2, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, two,
Gotcha.
3. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Mm-hmm. And so, what made you shift away from land?
So we just shut that down very recently, and that was just again us like, hey, we're doing something that we don't want to do. This was always like, did not passionate about it, don't love land, and not even just land in general, but we had a small team of VAs. We had like 4 or 5 people, and we were just caught up in the mix again of running a team. And even though it was simpler because it was VAs and they were with us forever, but it's just not fun. We weren't enjoying it. It was again back to this grind, and it's like, okay, is there light at the end of the tunnel? Not really, right? Like we know that this is
Mm-hmm.
not what we're meant to be doing. We're not using the best of our abilities, and not having fun, not making money. And then at that point, it was just like, all right, guys, we've done it long enough. And I did not know exactly what the plan was. Right? It was just like, I know that this isn't it, and time to shut it down, take a break, recoup, regather myself, and figure out really what the next path is. Because I'm sure a lot of people out there running a business, it's really hard, very difficult, time consuming, stressful. You're not making money month after month after month after month. It's hard to think, right? Like you can barely operate it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've never had like not that, right? So I've always had something over my head. So it was a great
Right.
time just to literally unplug from all of the stress and really just think about what it is that works best for John Kleisch, right? And and my family as well.
Right.
And that little break really was awesome because it like healed my brain and my soul.
For sure. I know Paul Whale Club always talks about the brain damage and residential to land. For me, when we had a low land part of our business for a while, I think you
Oh, I
remember,
forgot.
and
Yeah.
we did that probably for the same reason y'all did. We're like, man, selling houses sucks. You've got the tenant or the owners in the house, and you're trying to wholesale, or you're trying to novate, or you're trying to fix and flip and get them out, and it's a mess. And all the condition piece and inspection, and none of that exists in land. So I think we got attracted by the, oh sweet, we just sell this piece of dirt and you slap it on the market real quick. And what diligence is someone going to do in that? But I think the core issue with both of those businesses you brought up is just they're so transactional. And sounds like you guys found yourself in the place that we did of just like you're running this team, you're spending this money on marketing, like you better get those transactions across the board that month, and you're back to square one next month, even if you do, and you can just dig yourself a hole real fast. Like there's just it's really difficult to make those businesses truly reliable.
Oh, dude, I mean, I feel like I could talk for hours on this subject alone, but I don't know of a harder business to run overall. It's super, super, super expensive. It's very, very labor intensive, and you need to have everything work. There's so many different aspects of that business to where if one thing is off, it's costing you tens of thousands of dollars a month.
Oh yeah.
It works like as a solo person, right? I think very well, but then everyone gets out of that and then they try to get things and hire things, and that's when everything gets out of control. I mean, spending 10 grand a month on software is like not that unreasonable, you know? And
No.
it's just
Yeah.
like, that's one piece. That's just one little thing that you need to operate.
Hmm.
So, uh, for the record, I hate that business. I think it's the worst business ever. If anyone out there is thinking about getting into that business and growing a team, like do something else. For the love of God, trust me, do something else. I know very few people that are doing well, and the guys that are doing well, and you know this too, are doing very, 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 very well. But that's a very small, select few people. I mean,
Yeah.
I could probably
Yeah.
count them on one hand out of the people that I'm jealous of their business that it has a wholesale business or a fix and flip business.
Yeah, it seems to me the ones that are crushing it are elite business people and leaders who would be crushing it in any business
Mhm.
that they were
Yep,
in just because they're elite. But
totally.
so you started down the commercial path. Talk to me about what made you pull that trigger.
So ultimately, it was like back to, hey, what do I want, right? And I've been thinking that for years, right? I could sit there, kept me up awake countless, countless nights. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Kind of simplified. Okay, what does John want to do? Well, John does not want to run a team. John wants to stay in real estate. I say John, what an idiot. I, uh, want to stay in real estate. I want to acquire things that increase in value over time, and I want those things to pay me money monthly. And also, a big thing that I did want was I want to do work today that pays me in the future, right? Like kind of with wholesaling, we talked
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
there's none of that. You have to work to get paid, right? I want to do that work today and then hopefully for the next 10, 15, 20, maybe the rest of my life, get paid off of that thing that I do. And time again, commercial just checks all the boxes, checks all the boxes. And I would sit there and poke holes through and say, okay, what about commercial is gonna not give me those things? And I mean, the only downsides that I came up to doing commercial was that I have to work, right? And is that a downside? I mean, like, sure, but I like to work, right? And in fact, I have to work. And if I don't, I feel useless. So that's not even like, that was like the worst thing was,
Right.
okay, John has to I gotta stop saying John. I gotta get on the phone and call these people, right? Well, hey, that's the one thing that I'm actually good at in life. So it's like, okay, get over yourself. It's time to work. It's time to pick up the phone. It's time to feel uncomfortable, and it will pay dividends. And that's that. So it was just this big tug of war, having conversations with you. But what really led me to it was for sure you. Without you, I mean, I would be lost in the dark. I don't even know what I would be doing. Probably some stupid shit, that I don't want to be doing. But and then just knowing, especially what I did not want to do, and commercial checking all those boxes. And when you called me that one day, you're like, hey, where you at? And I was like, we talked for like 30 minutes. I was like, yo, send me the bill. Let's go. Let's do it, man. So
Yeah. Well, I think you touched on what I've already seen so far. Like everyone has a superpower and they have weaknesses, and usually those things are associated with each other. And you definitely have a superpower, and you mentioned a little bit. What do you think that is?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely talking to people and just getting them to like me, getting information out of them, getting to trust me, finding out what exactly is going on, and then also probably a little bit of just listening to not what they're saying, but how they're saying it, right? Like I could talk to a broker or anybody for a couple minutes, and like I can paint a picture. Like I'm not doing it automatically. Like a picture just like forms in my head of like what they're actually trying to do or what they're like and things like that. Uh, but yeah, that's probably the only thing that I'm good at.
Yeah.
Everything else, just throw it out the window. Don't have me do. I'm the worst.
And man, in a lot of businesses, that would be, a complete liability. Well, that is, first of all, that is an excellent skill to have. It's essentially sales at its core, and you can do well in anything. But I do think you've found something where if you're good at that, that is the most important piece at acquiring these properties is get on the phone and finding, we talked about in residential all the time of finding the pain and that. And when I first started commercial, I was like, that doesn't exist in commercial. These folks own millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate. But we've got a deal right now. This seller owns over $800 million of real estate, and he's still struggling with finances. Like it happens to all kinds of sellers. So there's definitely motivated sellers in commercial too. And you're not going to know until you pick the phone and call the broker.
And not even maybe not even on that first call because no broker's like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, this guy's so jacked. He's so broke. Like if he doesn't close, not on the when I talked to,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know if you want to get into it, but it got uncovered as
Sure.
we went on, right? And especially that other deal that we're working now too. The
Mm-hmm.
first call was very like, like there was something there, but it wasn't as exciting, and that got uncovered after the second or third call for sure.
Yeah. So we talked about your superpower. What do you think your weaknesses are as a business owner or entrepreneur?
Oh man, I mean, like following any kind of rules, doing any detailed work, like calling the city to find out the zoning and this and that and permits and just and anything like that, anything computer related. I'm just a buffoon. I couldn't even get my headphones to work before this podcast. Like, uh, let's see here, like patience was a big problem for me before. I wanted everything ASAP like yesterday, and I've been working on that. So that's probably something that's not as big of a weakness anymore because commercial deals don't pay you necessarily today. It's a longer time horizon, which I probably wouldn't have been interested in before because I wanted to get paid. I told you yesterday. Uh, what else am I bad at? Gee whiz. I think that's probably everything right there.
Oh, we are bad at something for sure. But no, I mean, as long as your phone works, you can get some commercial
Yeah,
deals. So
that's it,
you're
dude. As
good to
long as
go.
this yapper still moves, I'll be fine.
That's awesome. I think that's a good stopping part for episode 1. And we will come back another day and talk to John more about what it's been like kind of going through this process, working through his first several weeks in the program.